Hello, sweet friends. Welcome to Elevating Dharma, the podcast, a space for those who choose to step into the flow of Dharma against all odds, taking whatever courageous steps are required to break out of the old paradigms and live their purpose fully in health, in wealth, and true soul's alignment. I'm your host, Jade Sundari, and here we explore what it truly means to walk your Dharmic path and to live from your soul's guidance. Today's guest is Anahita. She is currently based in Egypt for 8 weeks, so at times the audio is a little bit sketchy, despite being surrounded by 5G towers. Anahita is a retreat host, a human design coach, and a retreat business mentor who weaves in unison with the earth and with divine law, working and walking in guidance with the goddess. In her life's work, she brings a grounded, no-nonsense approach to holding balance and authenticity. Anahita has trained with Holy Mama Retreat Academy and supports other retreat leaders and hosts to activate before stepping into their own leadership roles. She's hosted retreats in Mexico, in Egypt, and in Bali, and she continues to lead her own transformational experiences around the world by first immersing herself in the culture, the land, and the networks, all the while homeschooling her 16-year-old daughter as she travels. This episode is for you if you're seeking inspiration, looking at doing life a little bit differently, or you wish to hear what she believes lies at the heart of hosting successful retreats, one that is rooted in service, alignment, and soul. How does it feel to be there on your 4th time?
Feels different. It was quite overwhelming. It's been, even today actually, I was doing my meditation and I felt quite overwhelmed because I'm seeing more of different elements of the land and the different people. I mean, there's like 102 million people that live here.
Wow.
So I'm witnessing like all the polarities. Obviously, I've spent time in Swan, I've spent time in Luxor. Further down you go, they're more classed as the Nubian people rather than up here. So seeing the contrast, and one thing that's been quite upsetting, and it's not just here in Egypt, witness it in other places as well, but like the trash and the way that they look after the land. So that's felt quite heavy at times where I'm witnessing things, and then it's just also like, do you guys not know what's here? Like, this is your ancestry, like this is your home, this is yours, this is your legacy, this is your, things to look after. So it's that, and then also flip side, having really amazing meeting really amazing people. A lot of them from Alexandria, or like studied and here in Giza. A lot of people are from Cairo, so like they well educated and they leave to study in different countries and they come back and stuff. So we're having really interesting conversations as well. But again, asking me things that I feel like they should know about their homeland or their history, and they're saying like, oh, you know more about Egypt than us, and you visited more of Egypt than us. So yeah, just seeing those different types of contrasts, and then witnessing whether it's my channel is doing her work and awakening those around me, whether that be the men or the females.
Yes, what I'm hearing is it takes somebody to have a real fresh perspective, but yet you're connecting with those that are educated and integrating and coming from another culture. I mean, coming from experiences outside and then coming back in. But like the majority of people there are quite complacent. There's a lot of complacency. Yeah. That's sad. Yeah. That is a bit sad, but so much reverence comes from you. And when I see you sharing your stories and how it's affecting and activating you, you stay connected to the energy of the land and its essence is what I feel. when I see what you're exploring there and sharing. And well, how was your first your retreat host, and you started working in retreats how many years ago?
So I was starting to get certified in 2021. I would say fully finished at 2022. But already in 2021, I was doing like a lot of the back end stuff with others. So doing the structural, doing the like unseen weaving, doing budgeting, doing like the planning, and really tending to the leaders themselves to assist them into alignment, to hold space for others, to usher them into their leadership, because we're all here to do this work together. It's not for one person to say like, I am the best retreat leader. It's like, no, we're all here as to do our purpose work, and many of us leaders are here to impact others. So doing a lot of that, and then I was with my teacher.
Yeah, that was with Holy Mama, wasn't it?
It was an online container, but then we met in Bali in 2024 and done a retreat there. We had a retreat for mothers and children.
Yeah, so you went through the online container and then you met her in person and co-hosted the immersion with her, or
just assisted her facilitation. Yeah, we had a couple of like Holy Mama also likes to use local people, so we had a couple of local ladies come in to do the Balinese yoga. We had immersion with Idris, which she's the only female priestess on the island. So lots of different things.
Yeah, I feel like you've gone really deep into, not a lot of people are actually training and really honing their craft inside a retreat academy, and yet you did. So I so admire that. And then
thank you.
I know that you went on to collaborate with another collective that was doing some work in Egypt, and is that what initially tied you back into hosting in Egypt? Or tell me about that. Did you go to Egypt first, or the first time you went to Egypt, it was to host?
So I had already been here in 2023, and I had been here in 2021 actually. Sorry, I was here in 2008. So 17 years ago, I came here for my honeymoon on my 21st birthday. So that was in 2000. Yeah, and then
Wait, you got married at 21?
I got married at 20.
At 20?
I had my 21st birthday here in Egypt.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be 17 years ago since I went to the pyramids.
Mm-hmm. You had a honeymoon in Egypt.
In Sharm el Sheikh. And then because Manisha's dad, my ex-husband, he knew I had this like thing about Egypt and the ancient stuff. It was my birthday during the honeymoon. So he booked a surprise flight to Cairo to take me to the pyramids for my actual birthday. So I spent my 21st birthday with the pyramid. And then I came back in 2023, which somebody brought us out here, and I spent some time. That's when I'd say I really started to have my remembrance and some deeper activations, which I could hold and I could fathom because I had done so much work already.
Just circling back to what you said before, I find it really fascinating to observe and to witness how, these codes of remembrance are in so many people these days. And, whether they are traveling through, Colombia or Australia or Canada or, Egypt, or the close connection to the land with those people that are really tuning in, they seem to be activating sometimes more remembrance than the people that are actually living there. And then pouring that reverence back. I mean, that's how ancient our souls are these days. And with everyone being more conscious, and it can almost be more alive within a person than a local. I mean, for example, I study the Vedas, and the Vedas are so vast and so multi-layered and so unending that I don't claim to be an expert of anything, but it's sometimes in me, and there's some remembrance there that is beyond what I've even read in the scriptures. And then I have the information, and then I go and read it later. and it sound like in and it's not obvious, I'm not Indian in this lifetime, but I know without a doubt that in my past lives that there were more than one lifetimes here, and you really have this strong energy and connection with Egypt as well. And so, are there any regions or areas or temples in particular that you've had experiences that have felt more alive than other places?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So now I went in Siwa, there is the Temple of the Oracle. I kind of had a bit of an expectation to feel something there, because I've felt and tuned in, and I can feel. I've had activations in Daleshwar, in Luxor. I've had activations in Dandara. I've had activations in the Temple of Horus, and a few other spots further down south. So I kind of had a little bit of expectation that once I got to the Temple of the Oracle, perhaps I would, I don't know, feel something. And a few other sisters that I've spoke to have mentioned that, like there's something really special there, and they can feel that there's like lots of women's trapped souls there and such. But then I just was like, perhaps my soul wasn't trapped there. That's why I'm not feeling that energy. And I was the first one there. Yeah, I was the first one there. So the keeper came to open the gates for me. But even when I was on the ground, I kept pointing to the other side. I was like, can I go over there? And he said, no, you're not allowed over there. And I was just like, isn't that funny that something over there is pulling me and I want to go over there onto that side and we're not allowed on that side. So I thought maybe it was over there that I needed to, or I remember, or, had a feeling for. But he said that the people are not allowed on that side.
And just to give a little bit more context, because I can appreciate that an activation can mean different things to different people. How would you describe an activation within your own system?
When I have an activation, I feel like the gods themselves come down and start to dance with me, which reminds me of the ancient time, the old time, and that it's there active within me. And I'm here to do a work that's very ancient. But then we can all feel like we're alone at times on this journey. And it reminds me that I'm not alone, and I'm here to do something that's much greater than myself.
Beautiful. I love that. The way that you've said it. And it brings it into context. And also what I'm hearing is it's a visceral, tangible sensation, almost like I imagine when you're working with the land, your body is the land, and it becomes a reflection of that, or because you're working some of the ley lines, and then these can correspond to our own meridian lines or our own channels, and so you're almost like running energy, or at least you're open to running energy in this remembrance and feeling it.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's exactly that feeling where you just feel so like, I'm here doing this work on the land. There's something coming from higher. But as it runs through you, you just feel this oneness of like mind, body, soul. And that mind, body, soul is the body is the earth, the soul is the spirit, and the mind is the higher intellect that we're receiving from the source. So it definitely feels like a full connection, and it feels very grounding, very wholesome.
Yeah, the beauty of travel, the beauty of laying your feet on ancient earth and just attuning, right? I mean, you can't get that knowledge from a book. It's just felt knowledge, and I believe it just continues to integrate into your system. And, that's where some transformation, it starts to really happen in the days that follow. And then you're stumbling upon other sacred information and people and places as a result. Tell me how, so you're a retreat host and leader, and you've gone through Holy Mamas a retreat academy and, really crafted your, and so when you went and first hosted a retreat in Egypt, how many people came along to that? And how was that? How was the first one there?
So I think, including myself and the other facilitators, I think there was 18 of us altogether.
Mm-hmm.
There was about 18
How many
of us.
facilitators?
It was, so on site on the island, there was 4 of us facilitators. Tariq is the indigenous Nubian. And then on the boat, as we left, Anouk actually had to head back to Europe. So there was 3 of us, but then Thomas came in as well. So there was still like 18 of us.
Mm.
And the constellation, so each being is their own star. So they all have their own unique channels, don't they? And depending on what level you are, and I feel like that's why it's very important to have the intention of what are we weaving when we inviting souls to come on their journey, because we really want to attract the right vessels that are ready to hold the container with us, but also for themselves. And it was such a beautiful constellation that had arrived, and the work that we all done together. Everyone was on their different levels, but all pretty mystically attuned to like the unknown and knowing that there's such things as light language and activations and remembrance and all these types of things. So it was very beautiful to witness. Sometimes we were in the temple spaces by ourselves and everyone was just doing their own thing, whether that was singing or light language or doing.
So blessed with just like a real natural resonance of light minds and people coming together by the sounds of it.
It is very potent.
In your experience, what do you feel makes we'll dive into this question because I would love to unpack this. What do you feel like makes a good retreat host?
Someone who's very self-aware of themselves, and then they can be aware of others. If you don't have that awareness of yourself, it's hard to be aware of other person's need. Ultimately, knowing that you are the reason I melded so well with that group as the facilitators, because the main facilitator from Sesson who was there, she has an understanding that she only works for the divine and I only work for the divine. So there was no control element. There was no like, oh, this is my retreat and you're here just to sit here and do this and this. It was just like, whatever the divine tells you to do, do it. Don't ask for like permission. Don't feel like you're overstepping or any of these things. It was, if the divine tells you to do something, then just do what your channel knows to do. So I really loved that. That's quite honorable. But ultimately, having awareness that these souls are coming in for evolution, and it's our duty to take care of them and create this sacred space. And that's why you have to have that amongst yourselves. So if you have cultivated that sacred space within yourself, then you're able to emanate that out to others. And that's what they're looking for. That's what the soul is looking for, a place to be free and let everything out and receive and know that there's no judgment. And know that, the facilitators, these guides that are here, these matriarchs that are here holding space for us, they're not here for their own intent or for any malicious reason or, just for the branding or the money or all of these things. They're here to assist us on our journey.
Oh, that's such a beautiful answer. And to have that center, like for them to remain centered within themselves and then lean back and then working in reverence and synergy with the divine for the collective and for that group. And you mentioned the word sacred. I feel like that just encapsulates so much about that sacred intent, because it's a big deal, right? Like it's a big deal to have people leave their homes, leave their comfortable environments, their work, sometimes their family, and then not only travel to a foreign land, but then go into a group setting with others and then go an evolutionary journey. Like, there's going to be various phases and stages of almost like emotions that people are going to go through, right, before even coming into the full commitment. Like, it's such a journey. I recently hosted or supported a retreat, and I witnessed this firsthand, where it was set in Canada on Salt Spring Island. And I just learned so much, Anahita, like so much. I learned so much about just the very direct experience of what was really special about it all, and just so much respect for everyone that invested in it to be there together at that moment in time. Like, it's one thing to travel alone, but then it's another thing entirely to do it as a group, like doing group work, workshop work, doing any sort of work as a group. It's massive because you've got all the different auric fields that are activating you with their consciousness and their presence.
100%, because you never know who's arriving. You don't know what somebody else is holding. You don't know how they're going to purge. You don't know, what person's medicine is. They're in the constellation that came to Egypt. A few of them were sound matriarchs as well. Like, they do sound. They all had. A lot of them had their own medicine to share as well. So there was, like you said, different auric fields there. So some receiving on a different level, but then them also loving on the other ones that haven't reached a certain point on their journey. So it was just really beautiful to witness. But like you're saying, it can be quite a daunting experience to say, oh, I'm about to go on this big journey and I don't know who I'm going to share my room with, I don't know who's going to be there, and I don't know what's going to happen. But that's where the elevation happens, is when you have courage and you take this step into the unknown. That is the quantum leap. That is the saying, okay, I understand, to be around my brothers and sisters, that's where the magic happens. That's where the oneness happens. That's where connection happens. And we share our stories.
Yes. The anticipation, the anxiety, and then it flips into excitement, and then there's unpacking of those layers. And lifetime, like, I feel like there's this huge level of trust in the divine orchestration as well, because and how often do we come together, as a group on the other side of the world, and then have these journeys? I mean, sure, you're there for the land and maybe the food, maybe the hotel or the luxury, the environment. But I saw just real heartfelt connections and collaborations and creative like friendships that can be forged in these moments that are just so unexpected and so memorable. It's like, it just gives me the sense of like, one life, let's make the most of it kind of energy.
Yeah, and witnessing that. So even once I had left the last retreat and I gone back to my, my Western life, and witnessing how people on that frequency, they like romanticize all connections. And I was like, oh, this is why I love to be in circle, because you can just hug and cry with each other and laugh and sing and sit in each other's laps, and there's no expectation of, oh, is this a romantic connection? Is this? Do you want something from me? Or, I'm braiding the hairs. I was doing face masks on them. They were all feeling sick on one of the day. They needed a lot of nurturing and self-love. And I had made like 3 different face masks, and they were like crying, and I'm just putting face masks on them and loving on them. And it's just like a mother-daughter connection, but there's no like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this for you and make sure you remember this, or, any of these things. It's just like, yeah, we're here to nurture one another. And that's it. There's no, oh, well, but this is what I'm going to receive on the other side of that.
Yeah. I love that word, nurture. And I mean, I feel like that's huge when people initially travel, and then they're also calibrating to the collective field of the group. Nervous system regulation. And I mean, holding that calm presence and that nurturing presence, first and foremost. I mean, it's so underestimated as a soft skill set, and it really does speak volumes. It's not always, I feel like it's not always about bigger and better and let's like force a big transformation and force a mystical experience. It's just holding sometimes that feel.
Yeah, that's right. Some people, they just maybe need a hug and they just need loved on for a little while. They just need to be heard. They need to know that, they can share whatever it is they've been going through. They can share it here, and there's somebody here listening to them. There's somebody here that wants to hear their voice and wants to hear them sing and wants to hear them cry and say, yeah, it's okay, let it out. It's like, this is a place for you to do that.
Beautiful. Because it really is, especially when you've invested, I think, invested in, this sacred time to pause out of the routines of your life. Things are going to come up, and you can the experience that you're, in your stories as you speak, and just reflecting on the retreat that I've just been a part of. I felt like there was an element of it that was the intention was positive, to give more, provide more, and having a lot of things structured in the timetable. But there was also this underlying energy I felt, which was a little bit too pressurized from the lead facilitator, where it felt like as we were supporting, we were kind of being funneled into the agenda and the schedule and the structure a little bit too much, so that we couldn't I couldn't really be present with the guests as much as I wanted to, because I was always thinking, oh gosh, what next? I better go and set up for this event and this event and this event. And when I had my check-ins with the guests, they were almost feeling like, okay, we're ready to crack. This is getting a little bit too much. And I was so grateful that they could open up to me and we could have that time where it was just a big reminder that more is not always more. It's enough. It can be enough to have a few elements, some beautiful elements and some beautiful and some intentional events, but then just allowing the fields of one another to unfold naturally too.
Yeah, I completely agree. No, the destinations are beautiful. Obviously, they make the things appealing to the people to come join us, and they're being on very energetic hotspots allows the universe to do the heavy lifting. So we don't need to do the big heavy lifting, because the land or the temple or the water and the elements is doing that for us. And one thing I did even felt with the last group that I was hearing, for me, it felt like there wasn't enough downtime and integration time and just the time to just be. And even in Bali, it didn't feel like there was enough time to just be. I don't know if it's just because I'm a projector or whatever. I feel like when you just allow someone to be, that can just be enough for them. I just had a day of doing nothing with my feet up, sun on my face, had some great juice made for me. My dinner was amazing. I got to journal. I got to just stare outside and look at the Nile for some hours and do nothing. Like, to me, that feels really important to have those integrations during the journeys as well, so that people can actually process what it is that they've been experiencing, but also they fall to the lid of.
Sorry, I just lost you there. Can you just repeat that again? You just mentioned they fall to the...
Yeah, they could be full to the top, ready to release, and we're already throwing them into these big workshops and this and this. But ultimately, they might be already ready to the thing that comes to the surface, because I'm gonna liken it to when we do plant medicine and stuff. So just from in my own experience, when the medicine or the medicines come in, or I know I'm going to sit with the medicine, I almost have this pre-feeling like I've already taken the medicine. It's almost already in my aura that, I'm going to have a shedding, I'm going to have an ego death, and all this layer of me is going to be released. And that's before I've even sat with the medicine. And then I take the medicine, and what happens takes place. And I feel like that's the same. our soul knows, oh, I'm about to go into this space, and let's bring everything to the surface so that when we arrive there, we can, we can let it all go and we can let it all out of us.
The integration. Yeah, you did. I'll just fill in the blank. Just listening to you, you can hear that. Just because you've got such a direct and a very embodied experience of it all. So, I mean, that's so evident. It's not just something for you that is off the cuff or that you've just decided to do. I mean, you live and breathe and study and immerse yourself in this work. So I love that about you. And you really get it. But tell me, let's just change the tone for just a moment. And have you ever been in a situation where you're guiding a retreat or a group, or even if you've been in Egypt where things are feeling dodgy or sketchy, or even somebody in the group where it's like, okay, this needs to be handled?
And things weren't what they seemed, and I was doing my best to understand and process what was happening, but also to understand what it was with her on this journey. She went ahead and done all these things that she done, and now we're in the year of the snake, and all the things that are not in alignment with the devil are falling. It's gone viral all over the internet because a lot of her stuff has come to the surface. And she was holding retreats now in this last 1 year or 2 years or something. And now it's all falling because she's gone viral all over the internet, because she's not an embodiment of the thing that she's selling to the people. And that sort of thing has scared me as I've been on the journey. And like you said, I've gone through a leadership program. I've had teachers. I've traveled around the world. I've been in many different circles, many different cultures. And when I witness some of our brothers and sisters, they just like have this idea of, oh yeah, I'm going to do a retreat. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I feel like it's not in alignment with the reverence of divine order, of the internal divine. And that's where we're messing up. That's where it's getting messed up as a collective. And that's where you can see that others are not benefiting from the space that they've been to. They might feel more disconnected. In terms of like co-hosting with others, well, as a projector, I show you the divine in you, and then I'm gonna rattle the shadows in you to show you where the gap is. So ultimately, I don't take anything personal. I just understand that it's my channel to show you where you're not in alignment. And I just had a experience back in the UK, and I had to, once the retreat, weekend retreat had finished and we got on a call some weeks later, I had to let that lady know that where she was in her energy, and that it didn't feel like she should be holding space for others because she's not in alignment with the thing that she's projecting out to the people. And if that makes me a villain, if that makes people say that they think I'm better than them or I'm higher, I've got to a point where I don't really care what anybody says in that term. I just do my thing. I'm very humble with my codings, with my energy, the way that I do things. And if you see me, you see me. If you don't, then there's something part of yourself that needs to be seen. And I'm really okay with that. With participants that come, they're going to have things on them. They're going to have things that need clearing. I'm a big clearer. I do clearing work. It never really causes a problem. I found that the I don't want to call it the darker Shakti. I want to call it the more fierce and the more dominant, powerful Shakti in me. She will just speak, and through the flames of the words that come out of my mouth, that causes the transmutation in the present moment. So I'm okay with it now. I know as I'm having this conversation with you, I'm also having like some downloads of myself of why I'm here. Because I did have a retreat set up for October, which I moved because I didn't feel like I could do it. I just had 2 passings in my family, but the land was still calling me here. And I've been meeting people, and they say, oh, you look Egyptian. I met this lady Alexandra, she says you look like Nefertiti, you look like Cleopatra, they're seeing the embodiment of the goddess within me to awaken them. But I'm not on the internet or anywhere saying, oh, I'm like Cleopatra's, in my life, I remember my past lives of this and this and this. I'm just carrying their codings. I'm doing the work of the goddess. I'm showing those around me that she's here, she's present, she's alive, she's awake. And if that's how she wants to operate through me, then so be it. I'm being reminded that I am very powerful, and it is time for me to really stand in that place of power as a matriarch, as a goddess, and someone who carries this power, this Shakti.
It's very, very sacred work. And I can fully appreciate that. Yeah, it's not all love and light. There, in equal measure, some fierceness, some standing, and some protection. And that is the divine feminine to protect what needs protecting and to stand for. Yeah, your values and what's in divine order. And I so appreciate that about you, that you're out there doing God's work, goddess's work, and you are blessed and you are supported. I know that you had a passing of your grandmother recently, and then that's propelled you into a longer journey in Egypt, which is really unfolding for you. And I just want to ask you, before you share a little bit more details about the time frame of your next retreats, when Dharma unfolds for you, how do you know and how do you feel and how have you learned to really trust it?
Well, there is a great darkness here among us, and every time I travel as a woman with my child, there are those around me that can say, oh, that's not a safe thing that you're doing, or you're going here, you're taking your daughter with you. And even Egypt alone, a lot of people, we can look online, they say, oh, Egypt's not safe. But as I go on these big journeys, and I just witness the unfolding, in front of me, and how divinely guided I am, and how protected we are, and how the right people come at the right time, and then how I'm able to navigate with my intuition and discernment, that really allows me to know that I am in my Dharma, because if I wasn't in my Dharma, then these things wouldn't unfold.
You got it. Yes, it would crash and burn.
Yeah, that's it. I would have like a very different experience to the one that I have. So like, just let's just say doing the 14-hour journey through the desert, that to somebody can just sound bizarre, right? Like, oh, you got the night bus, you got a local night bus with your child through the desert, through the night. So there was other travelers on the bus as well, a couple of men, older adults, and as foreigners, I should say, but mostly locals on the bus. Then when I see how there's always one person somewhere that speaks some English and they're able to assist me, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah.
And that works well for me. So always trusting, being in surrender, feeling. And actually, I just had a conversation the other day and someone asked me this question.
The same question or something different?
A similar question, but I feel like the answer is there. This is the same answer. If we say that we trust the divine, but we don't show that we trust the divine, then how can we embody that flow with the divine? Yeah. If we say we trust the divine, but then we hesitate to take a step, or don't feel courageous, or we don't feel protected, or we don't feel, that the divine is taking care of us, then do you truly trust the divine?
100%. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Otherwise it's head knowledge, not embodied knowledge. And
that's it.
You say that, my whole heart is just like opening, and I just feel this sense of like stepping forward Like it's that stepping forward to step in and being in that present moment where you're embracing uncertainty and you're embodying self-trust. It's almost like an act of radical rebellion these days against how we've been and trained to have a lot of fear or contract ourselves. And sure, you still maintain your sensibilities, but you're following that thread that you are in a frequency of, divine trust. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, and no, you're welcome. You're welcome. And that's why I feel like taking care of my nervous system is actually first on the list, even when I travel. It's the most important thing for me. So even this time, I knew I was coming to Egypt. I know it's very dusty, it's very dry. I brought a lot of right things with me. Made sure I had like a palm stone for my feet. I've got like socks for my, like the socks that have product in them to do like pedicures on the go and stuff like this, making sure that I had all the things that I need for my skin and my body so that I don't feel like, oh, my nervous system doesn't feel good here. It's dry, it's this. It's like, okay, if I take care of my body and my nervous system, then surely everything else is just going to be fine as it is because I'm going to be in my body and not in my head.
Yeah, and that's where it's all at. Yeah. That's where there's no noise of the past, right? You can be so present. And even listening to you, like we've been friends for a while now, and even I'm so glad that we've had this pause and this time, like where we haven't been, chatting on a regular basis, because I can feel the spaciousness and the grounded power that you're really. It's palpable, and I can feel it. I can feel Egypt is with you. And yes, of course, you're in Egypt. You're not sitting in London in an apartment or in your house anymore. You're there, and you're with it all, and you're living it. And you can feel how grounded and embodied you are with the wisdom of Egypt. Yeah, sure. Sure. So, you're a trained boxer. You work out at the gym. Have you had to pull out your fists and put them up at any point, or you've been good?
No. No, I actually was playing with the owner of the hotel this rising. He came up onto the rooftop. He was messing around and he just started to like shadow box. So I did give him a little one in the shoulder. He didn't think I would, but I did. It's so cool. Yeah, it's nice to play. I do love the people here. They're so I want to use the word accommodating, but it's far more than that. They want to make sure you have everything you need. They like make fun of their thing, and they want to make sure. So even because we stayed in this place when we arrived, and then we traveled to C1 Alexandria, and kept checking in on me, like, are you okay? Where are you now? How was the journey? Okay, when you come back, So it's like, oh, and I even asked, I said, why are you being so nice to me? And he said, oh, I just want to make sure, he said, I want you to know that you can have anything that you want. And when I read that message, I was like, that's Egypt talking to me. That's the divine talking to me to let me know that you're here. We've called you here, and we want you to know that anything that you need and you want is there available for you. So don't worry, don't stress, don't feel panicked about anything. And that's put a lot of ease in me to be on this journey as well.
Yeah, you're so supported. Oh, beautiful. And then you're like, I'll have some grapes, some silk, some saffron.
Yeah. Yesterday I messaged him. I said, where can I go to drop my laundry off? He said, oh, just go give it to Abdullah. Just go give your stuff, whatever you need. Just go give it to him. I was like, oh, okay. I don't even have to go to the place myself. You're just going to get one of the boys to run it out for me. All right, that's brilliant.
Yeah, this is often something that we can forget when we're sort of in our lives and our own countries, just and getting complacent. Kind people can be in the world. I haven't told you the story, but at the end of the retreat, the one that I was supporting in Canada, we all went down to the water, and I'd come down a little bit later, and there was it almost looks like a lake. So it's like this cobblestone staircase down to the stones, the pebble beach, and then everyone started wading in. And when we were wading in, there was bioluminescence in the water.
Oh, wow.
So as you're wading and you're walking, it's like a galaxy of lights and stars.
Beautiful.
And swimming and splashing around. It's the bioluminescence is kicking off. And it was like, oh my God, this was not even advertised. This was something so special and magical, because the location was called Lightwater Cove. And that's why it finally dropped in. And then I looked over at a log, and I saw an outline of a man, but then there was no one there. I was just kind of like setting my eyes. And then somebody said, oh, there was a man here just before, and he was sitting over there, and he's actually from your hometown, Jade. I was like, because I was tracking the presence of his energy. And so right at the end, they said to me, oh, somebody wants to meet you. And I thought, okay, it'll be Tim, the guy that everyone had said he's the caretaker of the land, and, you know, the groundskeeper, and he's made all these beautiful waterfalls and put so much care and into all the land. It was really sophisticated, just like Garden of Eden. Like, honestly, he'd done such a beautiful job. And over like many, many years, I've been cultivating the garden, and he bought me a bunch of like 20 dahlias, like big, beautiful geometric flowers that we don't have in New Zealand. And I was like, what am I going to do with all of these flowers? And so I gave them out to all the women on the retreat, and it was our last night, so they could just sleep next to them, put them in their bed, whatever. I don't know, have them a vase next to them. But they were so delighted. And one of the women we got all photos with them, and it just reminded me of the goodness in people's hearts, and just honestly, the frequency and the joy of nature. And sometimes, like, that's enough. That's so much in itself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it just activates the child. So imagine all these adults just in the water with this blue luminescence, algae, and just being like in this wonderment of childlike energy. Like, oh wow, I'm like actually in this water that's glowing on me and in me.
Yeah. Play, beauty, sensuality, it's all a music, dance, you know, it's all such sweet medicine for the feminine as well, when we can be living these lives of alchemy and transmutation and doing a lot of work. Like, it's such a nice reminder to return to, you know, lightness of being. Before we wrap up, are there any places in Egypt that you would highly recommend? Or where are you going to Petra, or any special spots that are a little bit unheard of?
Decided not to go to Jordan. Now. Egypt wants to keep me here. And I'm just, like I shared, I'm just taking each segment as it comes. I felt called back by the pyramids to do now integration or my own channeling. And the owner of the hotel, his dad is also a healer and a bit of a seer, and I've been spending a little bit of time with him. And I just went to see him 2 days ago, and I said, oh yeah, I just felt like being called back here to Giza, to the pyramids, and do like channeling and work. And he said, yeah, October is very big for that with the pyramids. So I was like, oh, okay. Once I grounded here and done whatever it is that I need to do, I know I will receive instruction to go to the next place. I definitely know I'll be spending some time in Luxor. I want to go spend some time in Temple of Dandara. So I'm just open. I'm open to the flow of the Nile.
Have you got any dates set in your mind yet for welcoming a group in next year? Did we cut out?
Yeah, so we cut out. I got you back now. I heard you say, do I have any dates? So I have my original October dates. I'm just sitting with the feeling of if I should run something in February as well. I'm actually working really closely with the guys now, so I'm able to drop another $1,000 off my ticket price that I had originally had. So yeah, it's just getting more and more accessible, more and more supported, more and more delicious. And I've spent some time in Siwa now. I've also clocked out a place there that I would like to hold space then, but that would be separate to the Keys of Light pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really deepening and unfolding for you right now in real time, and you're trusting your channel, and the intention is there. I love that. So when everything's anchored, where can people find you?
On my Instagram,
website.
Yeah.
Okay.
My website. Yeah. My Instagram and my website is my main two social media ports. A lot of people do actually have my number when I meet them and things. And funnily enough, actually, I was in Siwa, and someone that follows me on Instagram, she's been following me for almost 1 year. She's seen that I was in Siwa, and she's from Germany, and she's also in Siwa. And she wanted to meet me. And yeah, she's just jumped into a one-to-one container with me after meeting me here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And how are you working with her in human design or business mentorship? How?
So it's my Evolve On Purpose program. So in that we do the inner work, do the inner alchemy work, and then we bring it outwards into the leadership work and the business and the strategy and the branding and the visionary and all of these things. Just assisting people to elevate into their leadership.
Yeah. And she's available for that. She's there for that. That's so perfect.
Yeah.
What's on the cards for you in Egypt this weekend? Have you got any plans?
So they have a massive techno festival at the pyramids today. So I'm just waiting for all this shenanigans to pass a little bit. I'm just resting and being in my routine and everything. But so when we arrived, Manisha actually got unwell after 2 days. It was all in the mental because the pyramids activate the mind. So what I felt was her vessel wasn't ready to receive the potency. So I hadn't taken her actual to the pyramids. We're in the vortex of it. So once we got to see so Solomon actually gave me some oil for her and she started to feel better. Once we got to Siwa, she was really able to ground. Now we've been to Alexandria, which is the top. So she's more open now and more ready to receive. So once this festival and all of this is kind of over, I'll be doing my Giza Cairo trip. So I'll be going to the obelisk, which is in Heliopolis. I'll be going to Memphis and we'll be going to Giza. So just going to be doing those things. But at the moment, yeah, just resting, channeling, journaling, and just getting back with people. I have a client call later with one of my clients in England.
Thank you so much, Anahita, for connecting with us while you're in the very heart of your own transformation in Egypt. And to my listeners, if you found even an ounce of inspiration or fascination in today's conversation, please feel free to reach out either to myself or to Anahita and let's connect. And if this episode touched you, share it as media, as medicine with your community and let us know what resonated for you most. I'll be back soon with more episodes and more incredibly inspiring guests here on Elevating Dharma. Until then, keep walking your path in your true soul's alignment with courage and with devotion.